Hello there and welcome to Pandora FMS. In today's video, we're going to learn how to configure Pandora FMS log collector. The log collector is an enterprise feature that allows us to collect logs from Pandora FMS agents, or using the rsyslog protocol to centralize all the logs of our environment in a single point and even be able to correlate them and generate alerts. The first step to activate log collection is to install and configure our database for log storage. We have used Elasticsearch as a database engine. Elastic is a non-relational database ideal for storing logs due to its characteristics and speed when searching for text strings and managing large amounts of data. The first step is to install Elasticsearch on either a virtual or physical machine. In production environments, it is recommended to use a different machine from that where Pandora FMS is deployed. In fact, in cases where a large amount of logs is collected and stored for long periods of time, it is advisable to configure an Elasticsearch cluster to distribute the workload and have redundancy in stored data. In this video, we will configure a machine devoted to Elasticsearch and we will connect to our Pandora FMS environment. As a recommendation, the minimum features for the deployment of this machine should be 2 cores, 4 GB of RAM, and 100 GB of disk. 7,200 RPM. Elasticsearch makes heavy use of RAM and disk memory, so they are the two most important resources on this machine. Well, without further ado, we're going to deploy Elasticsearch. The base machine where we will install it is a clean installation of CentOS 7 Minimal. We will have to download the RPM package from Elasticsearch and install it on our CentOS Minimal. In the latest versions, Elastic comes prepackaged with Java, so we don't have to worry about installing or configuring Java. From Pandora FMS Wiki, you may see step-by-step the installation and configuration of Elasticsearch with the links to the download website, so basically follow these steps. The first step is to download the RPM from the Elastic website. In my case, I will use curl to download directly to the server and not have to upload the package. The second step is to install the package. For this, we will use the yum package manager and execute yum install elastic. We tap so that it auto-completes the name of the file and we press enter to execute. It will ask us if we want to install, we say yes, and we wait for the installation process. With this, we would already have Elasticsearch installed on the machine, so now we have to make a couple of adjustments in the configuration files. First, open the file /etc/elasticsearch/elasticsearch.yml, where you will have to add 2 essential lines. discovery.type:\node. That will allow you to run an Elastic standalone server, which is our case. And network.host:127.0.0.1 IP. Replacing the IP by the IP of the machine that we're going to configure. This is to set which IPs will be listening to the Elastic service. Optionally, you may give the cluster name, in this case a single node cluster, and the identifying name of the node itself with the lines cluster.name:elk Pandora, node.name: $$ left curly bracket, hostname right curly bracket. In my case, I will call the cluster ELK Pandora and the node will use a variable so that it is called the same as the host name of the machine. Then there are more optional configurations, such as data location, etc. But with this, we can already have our service running. Save the file and exit. Now modify the file /etc/elasticsearch/jvm.options. In this case, we're interested in modifying 2 lines. -uppercase X MS512M and -uppercase X MX 512M. Here you set the amount of memory that the Java virtual machine can use. In the case of our machine, as it has 4 GB of RAM, we're going to devote 3 GB to Java and leave 1 free for OS management. So we will define -uppercase X MS 3G and -uppercase X MX 3G. With this, configurations will be made. You have yet to start the service with the command systemctl start elasticsearch.service. Wait a couple of seconds and you can already verify that it responds to port 9200. So do a curl 127.0.0.1:9200 and you should receive this JSON that indicates that the service is working. You already have Elastic configured, now you have to configure it in Pandora FMS. The first thing you have to check is that you have connectivity between the Pandora FMS server and Elastic. As we are installing Elastic in a minimal CentOS by default, the firewall will block traffic through port 9200. In this case, I'm going to disable the firewall of the Elastic machine, since in our test environment I do not need to limit the connections. In production environments, it is highly recommended to control access to that machine either with a system firewall or a physical one. To disable the firewall, execute systemctl disable firewall d -- now. Now from the Pandora web console, enable the log collector. Go to Server Enterprise, enable the log collector and save. This will enable a couple of menus. The first one we need is in Configuration, Log Collector. Here we will have to define the IP of the Elasticsearch, the port that by default is 9200, the number of lines of logs that it will be seen on screen, and how long you want to keep the logs before they are discarded. You will also see a point that will tell you whether the connection to Elasticsearch is correct. Save and check that the indicator comes out green indicating that the connection is correct. With these steps, you already have Pandora FMS connected to the log collector. You may check the new view, go to Monitoring, Log Viewer, and you will have the log view. By default, the syslog server is enabled in an ISO installation of Pandora FMS, so it will automatically be sending all the entries of the var log messages from the Pandora FMS machine. This can be used to configure an R syslog and centralize all the logs in this machine, but we will see this in future videos. To check whether Pandora FMS syslog server is enabled, go to the servers view and check that it is enabled. Otherwise, it must be enabled in the service configuration file. In this case, since it is enabled, you may try to send data to the Pandora FMS server itself. We're going to use the logger command. For example, send logger test Pandora log. Look in the var log messages that the entry has been written and go to the log viewer where you may see the entry that we have just sent to the server log. It is also possible to send logs to the collector directly from both Linux and Windows software agents. We will also see this in future videos. Taking a look at the log viewer, you may see that you have several options for filtering and searching for text strings. In the upper right section, we will have access to other log viewer tools, an advanced graphic courier to make custom queries to Elastic, and a list of log sources and agents that send these logs. From this view, you may manually add, modify, or delete the log sources. And that was it for today's video. Do not forget it, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Remember that if you're interested in trying Pandora FMS Enterprise, contact us to get a free 30-day trial. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to see you on social media and in future learning videos.